Here are the top stories for today, October 1, 2020. Travel pass no longer required for essential workers. Survey says majority of Filipinos follow the health protocol. Justice Secretary Menardo Guevarra recommends major reorganization on Philhealth. And let us know the people's reactions on Facebook's move to purge some advocacy pages in the country. Good day, I'm William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. Travel pass not required for medical frontliners and those working in vital industries in Metro Manila. The Joint Task Force COVID Shield said travel must be less restricted for health workers and frontline workers since they play a key role in the effective response of the government on COVID-19. However, Task Force Commander Lieutenant General Guillermo Eliazar clarifies that travel authority is required for the locally stranded individuals and unauthorized persons outside of residence. A medical clearance certificate from City and Municipal Health Office and prior coordination with the receiving local government units are also needed before a travel authority is issued to them. The Department of Transportation urges consortiums to just give for free the stored value cards or beep cards to commuters once they buy the load for the fare. DOTR Secretary Arnel Tugade said the public is still reeling from the effects of the pandemic and the additional 30 to 50 pesos for the price of the beep card on top of the initial fare load would be a burden to the commuters. The DOTR officials unanimously agreed that the cost of the stored value card should be waived. The department ordered AF Payments Incorporated, the consortium composed of conglomerates Ayala Group and First Pacific Group, to just give the cards for free. Commuters should also have the option to load the card with whatever amount he needs for the fare. The beep card can be used to pay fares in LRT1, LRT2, and MRT3 train lines, and some point-to-point buses, buses plying the EDSA busway, as well as modern public utility vehicles. The latest SWS surveys show that majority of the Filipinos follow the recommended health protocols by the government. The survey shows that 79% of Filipinos always use a face mask when going out of the house. 67% always wash their hands several times a day. 60% always keep physical distance, and 56% always use a face shield in public transportation and establishments. Malacanang welcomes the results, saying this shows that the government's efforts to inform and educate the public have been successful. With a gradual reopening of the economy, the government reminds the public to continue adhering to those COVID-19 safety measures. And on to the issue of House speakership, presidential spokesperson Harry Roque said Malacanang is leaving it up to the Congress. In an interview, Roque said President Duterte is hoping that Congressman Alan Peter Cayetano and Lord Alan Velasco will honor their agreement.
Yun naman po, nagkataon lamang po na ang pangyayari sa Kamara kahapon ay nangyari doon sa scheduled meeting sa panig ni Deputy Speaker Brother Eddie Villanueva at ng Presidente. Pero ang main dahilan po roon ay para i-pray over ang ating Presidente na nangyari naman po.
Helmets are now required to be worn by bicycle riders while traversing roads in Quezon City. According to Mayor Joy Belmonte, bicycle use has become a part of the new normal, and they want this activity to be safe in the city. The City Council passed an ordinance requiring the wearing of helmets. Penalties range from 1,000 to 5,000 pesos. Quezon City is also eyeing to put up permanent bike lanes that will be integrated with a planned bus system routes and pedestrian network. Facebook recently shut down several social media account pages over allegations of inauthentic behavior. But the government says the move has hurt its own accounts pushing for legitimate objectives and advocacies. We asked people whether they agree or not with the shutdown of advocacy pages on Facebook in today's Boses ng Masa.
Parang hindi. Kasi parang wala na yung karapatan ng mga government kapag tinanggal nila yun. Paano naman sila? Yung mga impormasyon na binibigay nila, hindi na makukuha.
Kung kapakinabangan ng gobyerno, tutol ako. Pero bakit hindi kaya ito na mamanipula ng ibang bansa o nadidiktahan?
Pabor akong tanggalin yung Facebook. Kasi yung pinaka-problema naman ng mga mamamayan natin Pilipino, hindi naman nila nabibigyan ng pansin eh.
Di ako pabor sa pagtanggal ng Facebook account ng government agency para rin yan sa informasyon ng tao ng mamamayan.
Para sa akin, hindi ako pabor kasi bilang sa gobyerno din ako. Kasi hindi natin mamonitor kung ano kalakaran ng gobyerno pag wala na yung mga Facebook nila. Paano natin mamonitor kung ano nangyayari katulad nitong COVID? Doon natin nakukuha yung mga impormasyon kung anong mga nangyayari sa kapaligiran natin patungkol sa pamamalakad ng gobyerno natin.
Still to come, Justice Secretary Menardo Guevarra recommends major reorganization on Philhealth. And the Health Department is set to rectify late reports of COVID-19 cases. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Alamin kung paano ang tamang pagsusuot ng surgical mask. Una, hawakan ang mask sa strap at siguruhing natatakpan nito ang inyong bibig at ilong. Tandaan, ang may kulay na bahagi ng mask ang dapat nasa labas. Ito lamang ang tamang paraan ng pagsuot nito. Ihulma ang nose piece o maliit na metallic strip ayon sa hugis ng inyong ilong. Iwasan ang paghawak sa inyong ilong at bibig. Kung marumi na ang mask, hubarin ito gamit ang strap at itapon ito sa isang basurahan. Siguruhin ang maayos na paghuhugas ng kamay gamit ang sabon at tubig. Ang surgical mask ay dapat gamitin ng mga pasyenteng may sakit sa baga o mga taong mayroong ubo, sipon at lagnat, mga nag-aalaga sa mga may sakit, at mga healthcare at frontline workers. Maaari ring magsuot nito kung kayo ay pupunta sa matataong lugar. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito.
You're still watching the PNA Newsroom. Task Force Philhealth stood firm on its recommendation for Philhealth to undergo a major reorganization within its agency. This as President Rodrigo Duterte earlier said he is planning to ask Congress to abolish the state-run insurer. Justice Secretary Menardo Guevarra, who leads the task force, said abolishing or privatizing Philhealth would need congressional action.
Sa tingin ko po, dahil nandyan na po yung initial report ng Task Force PhilHealth at nagsalita na rin po ang PACC na 40 pa ang kanilang kakasuhan, asahan na po natin ang sibakan. Malawakang sibakan dyan sa PhilHealth. So wala pong magbabago, mga mukha lang, matatanggalan po ang korupsyon kapag nabuwag at bumbuo ng bagong organisasyon. Nagaganap din ng ginagawa po ng PhilHealth.
President Duterte earlier ordered Attorney Dante Gueran to clean Philhealth until December this year.
Pero yung problema po talaga sa PhilHealth, talagang masyado na pong systemic yung problema. Napakadami nilang dapat tanggalin, napaka-pervasive po ng influence nila. Kaya iniisip ng Presidente baka mas mabuting i-abolish and start from scratch. Yung mga matitino naman po, wala kayong dapat alalahanin dahil alam naman po ng Presidente kung sino talaga ang bulok at sinong matino. At naninindigan pa rin ng Presidente na marami pa rin pong mga mabubuting mga manggagawa ng gobyerno dyan po sa PhilHealth.
The Department of Health said it is coordinating with the World Health Organization about an antigen test kit included in the WHO emergency use listing but failed the local validation on sensitivity. DOH Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergara said the SD biosensor is the first antigen test kit that has been validated by Research Institute for Tropical Medicine, or RITM, but didn't meet the diagnostic performance they have set. The said test kit from South Korea has 71% sensitivity, while the WHO recommends 80% sensitivity and 90% specificity.
Ngayon kami ay nag-aaral, pinag-aaralan namin ito at nakikipag-usap kami sa WHO kung ano dapat ang hakbang. Dahil nga hindi pumasa sa local validation sa sensitivity, but it was approved as an emergency use product sa WHO.
Apart from the pilot test on antigen test kits, Vergara said the RITM is also studying saliva testing for COVID-19. She said the Philippine Red Cross is already conducting a trial using saliva as specimen.
There are two things about saliva. May isa yung saliva na ginagamit na specimen instead of the nasopharyngeal and the oropharyngeal specimens. Ito ang ginagamit laway. Meron namang isa na tinutuloy na nila sa pagtetest. No? So dalawang institutions ang gumagawa ngayon itong pag-aaral dito sa saliva specimen as a possible specimen for testing for COVID.
The Department of Health, or DOH, is set to rectify late reports of COVID-19 cases in the country. In a virtual media forum, DOH Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergara acknowledged that the department has been reporting some COVID-19 cases that happened from March to August. Vergara explained the late case reports are acceptable, but the department is working on their information system gap.
So kahit na gaano kalit yan, kailangan palitan natin yan kasi that would really have an implication kapag dumami yung mga ganyang mga errors, magkakaroon yan ng implikasyon sa analysis natin ng data. So hopefully in the coming weeks, mawawala at talagang hindi na tayo makakita nito. Pero lagi naman natin sinasabi, di ba? Wala naman tayong 100% na information system.
Amid efforts to ease quarantine levels and reopen the economy and public utilities, several localities issued stricter security measures to keep the spread of COVID-19 at bay. Marita Mawahe has the story.
The city government of Dagupan, Pangasinan orders that all incoming individuals, visitors or returning residents from outside the province to register starting October 12 before they could be allowed to enter the city. Mayor Mark Brian Lim said the city aims to have a digital recording of those from outside the province as part of the city's strengthened contact tracing efforts to prevent the transmission of COVID-19. Incoming visitors or returning residents of the province will have to register online and avail of a QR code through the website gopangasinan.ph. Meanwhile, residents within Pangasinan planning to enter the city are only required to present IDs proving they are residents of Pangasinan. In Surigao City, 7 areas were put under a 2-week lockdown following an increase in COVID-19 cases, as well as the Department of Health's announcement that local transmission has already occurred in the area. Mayor Ernesto Matugas Jr. imposed a localized lockdown on Borromeo Street and Baybay Magallanes in Barangay Washington, Purok 6, in Barangay Canlanipa, and Purok 1A, 2, and 6 in Barangay San Juan. The local government also placed under modified enhanced community quarantine the barangays of Washington, Taft, Canlanipa, Cagniog, Luna, San Juan, and Mat-I. Restrictions will be implemented in the affected areas from September 30 until noontime of October 14. Meanwhile, General Santos City will remain under general community quarantine until October 15 as local communities continue to grapple with the increasing cases of COVID-19 local transmission. Aside from the extension, Mayor Ronel Rivera also ordered a border lockdown on Tuesday afternoon. City government declared on August 31 the local transmission of COVID-19 in several barangays, with some of the cases traced to those who had exposure at the Fishport Complex in Barangay Tambler. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Marita Muahe.
Residents of Bulacan will soon have access to more jobs, not only through the upcoming new Manila International Airport, but also through opportunities opened by San Miguel Corporation. SMC, in cooperation with the Technical Education Skills and Development Authority, or TESDA, launched on Wednesday its free livelihood and skills training program. Its beneficiaries were 60 former residents of Barangay Taliptip in Bulacan Town who have accepted the relocation offer of FNC for the construction of its airport project. SMC President and COO Ramon Ang said the training program aims to help Filipinos benefit from opportunities that will emerge with the construction of the airport. He assures that the airport project will be a game changer that will positively affect the lives of Bulacan residents even beyond the pandemic. In our business news, the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, or BSP, recently launched a digital PERA, or Digital Personal Equity and Retirement Account, which aims to provide financial security for retirees whether they are in or out of the country. It is a voluntary retirement savings program that supplements the existing retirement benefits from Social Security System, Government Service Insurance System, and employers. BSP Governor Benjamin Diokno explained the benefits of PERA.
Ang ibig sabihin nito ay kung ikaw ay isang Pilipino, may kapasitad kang magsubi na mag-invest at ikaw ay merong TIN, yung tax account number, pwede kang maging contributor dito sa PERA. Or yung kung nasa abroad ka, yung asawa mo o yung anak mo, pwede rin silang mag-invest dito sa PERA. Ang kaibahan nito, una-una doon sa savings account, alam mo yung savings account, pagka nagkaroon ka ng interest doon, yung kinikita mong interest, ay taxable yon ng 20% final tax. Ito investment, no? Hindi ito tax exempt na ito. At in fact, magagamit mo pa ito yung equivalent ng 5% nung kung magkano kinontribute mo sa PERA. Tapos itong income na makikitain mo dito sa PERA ay exempted din to from all taxes on investment income. Ang maximum nito na contribution ay 100,000, except for Filipinos who can contribute up to 200,000. Filipinos abroad, no? 200,000 annually. Ang minimum naman nito ay 10,000. So malaki ang kung malaki kinikita mo, pwede ka mag-contribute ng mas malaki. So pag dating mo ng age 55, malaki ang makukuha mong return dito sa investment mo nito.
Up next, halfway house from former rebels in Agusan del Norte opens, and quarantine journal for isolated patients was launched in Western Visayas. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
Alamin ang tamang paraan ng pag-ubo upang mapigilan ang paglaganap ng Coronavirus Disease 2019. Ugaliing magdala ng panyo o tissue. Kung uubo o babahing, takpan ang buong ilong at bibig gamit ang panyo o tissue. Kung walang dalang panyo o tissue, maaaring gamitin ang braso na pantakip. Kung nakararamdam na kailangan umubo o bumahing, agad na dumistansya sa mga tao sa paligid. Huwag dumura kung saan-saan, gumamit ng tissue at itapon sa basurahan. Ugaliin ang paghuhugas ng kamay at paggamit ng alcohol o hand sanitizer upang mamatay ang mikrobyo. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito.
After getting the chance to return to their homes in Leyte, some 33 beneficiaries of the Balik Probinsya, Balik Pag-asa program have received livelihood assistance from the national government. Each beneficiary received 8 sacks of rice and weighing scales for them to start a rice retailing business. Other beneficiaries will also receive assistance depending on their proposed livelihood projects. DOLE Eastern Visayas Regional Director Yahya Senti said they need this type of livelihood assistance since they were the first region to accept BP2 beneficiaries. On May 21, about 112 persons who lived in Metro Manila returned to their respective hometowns in Leyte as part of the BP2 program. The program implements Executive Order 114, aiming to ensure balanced regional development through inclusive growth starting at the countryside. Halfway houses are being constructed in the country to accommodate the growing number of rebel returnees. These halfway houses provide transitional opportunities for our fellow kababayans who were once prodded into joining the insurgent movements, one of which is the halfway house in Agusan del Norte. Jennifer Peña Gaetano has the story.
A halfway house for former rebels officially opened here in Agusan del Norte. Located inside the 402nd Brigade's headquarters in Butuan City, the fully operational facility has 16 rooms and could accommodate up to 50 persons. While inside the facility, former rebels will undergo debriefing and treatment. They will also be provided with skills and livelihood training before they can be reintegrated back into their respective communities.
He needs to undergo treatment and debriefing for him to express kung unsay gikahadlukan ug uban pang mga gipangbati samtang nakigbatok siya dito sa bukid.
The halfway house is one of the many projects that supports the government's Enhanced Comprehensive Local Integration Program or ECLIP.
This is going to be a continuing effort. Makabot kuno nato ang peace kung atong ihatag ang atong tanan para maka-create kita og usa ka kalibutan nga nag-support sa matag usa nato.
This as the government remains committed in addressing insurgency in the country. For the PNA Newsroom, I am Jennifer Peña Gaetano of the Philippine Information Agency, Caraga.
A key official of the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry urged businessmen in Negros Oriental to beware of scams and extortion messages from people claiming to be members of the New People's Army. PCCI Central Visayas Regional Director Edward Du said that some business owners have claimed to receive extortion letters or demands for revolutionary tax purportedly from the NPA. Du advised them to report immediately to proper authorities if they feel that they are being scammed or if an unknown entity is extorting money from them. He cited that the anti-terrorism law specifically states that it is a crime to extend assistance, solicited or otherwise, to groups such as the NPA. The business community in Negros Oriental signed a manifest of commitment to support efforts against violence and armed hostilities on Tuesday. In sports, Baguio athletes who won in international competitions last year, including the Southeast Asian Games, will be receiving their incentives from the city government soon. The Baguio City Council is releasing 820,000 pesos for the SEA Games athletes, while 45,000 is extended for incentives to the winners of the World Para Bowling Team. City Administrator Bonifacio de la Peña said athletes are assured to get their incentive even without completing their requirements. Athletes are required to submit certificates of achievement, official results, and barangay certificate as proof that they are residents of the city. Meanwhile, the National Athlete Allowance is expected to revert to its full amount this October, with President Rodrigo Duterte signing the Bayanihan Act 2, which allotted 180 million pesos for athletes and coaches' allowances. They are also expected to receive 5,000 pesos as bonus. In our 4 news, U.S. President Donald Trump and Democratic nominee Joe Biden clashed Tuesday during a political debate that repeatedly broke down into fiery exchanges and angry interruptions. The clashes prompted moderator Chris Wallace to castigate Trump, whom he said interrupted Biden far more frequently than the vice president did the incumbent. The debate covered a slew of topics, including race, the candidates' records, the COVID-19 pandemic, violence in American cities, election integrity, and climate change. Trump, meanwhile, refused to tell his supporters not to engage in civil unrest or declare victory until the election is independently certified, while Biden agreed to both terms. Biden has continued to maintain a comfortable lead in nationwide polling. Vice President Mike Pence and Senator Kamala Harris will face off next week on October 7 in the Seoul vice presidential debate. Trump and Biden will again take to the debate stage October 15 and October 22 in the final 2 presidential debates. Being on quarantine can take its toll on a COVID-19 patient's body and mind. That's why the Department of Health in Western Visayas launched a self-care journal that will keep patients physically and mentally fit as they prepare to return home. The 14-day self-care quarantine journal contains activities recommended while inside quarantine facilities. Among the components of the journal are Bible and Quran verses, inspirational quotes, exercises, games, playlists, movie and book recommendations, and questions of the day. Dr. Marlene W. Convocar, Regional Director of DOH-6, says the journal aims to promote good mental health support and resilience to affected Filipinos. Convocar said quarantine should be enriching and productive while preparing for reintegration. A soft copy of the journal will be posted online daily at the DOH-CHG6 Facebook page, while hard copies will be distributed upon arrival of individuals to be quarantined. Here's another look at today's biggest stories. Travel pass no longer required for essential workers. Survey says majority of Filipinos follow the health protocol. Justice Secretary Menardo Guevarra recommends major reorganization on Philhealth. And let us know the people's reactions on Facebook's move to purge some advocacy pages in the country. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. To check out more news content, visit our webpage or head onto the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also, watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC 13. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, I am William Theo. Good day, stay safe to everyone.